And we're back in the room once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once more to the Caiman Show. Joining me today, an old friend, a man I've not seen for a while. I don't think we've done a one-to-one in wrestling, but I think we have crossed paths in the ring in some sort of capacity. But allow me to introduce you to my friend and yours. Here's the man I call, Flying Mike Bird. Michael, welcome to the show, sir. How the devil are we?
I'm doing grand, and you've already got me thinking off the bat, which is terrible.
I know, mate, I know. But no, going back to that, we haven't done a one-to-one, have we? I think my memory, if it serves me right, was when you were wrestling for me in Celtic, which we'll go on to, I always used to chuck you in high-flying matches, which is probably why in Celtic we never would have met, because I can't do high-flying. Though my finish now is a missile drop kick off the top rope, believe it or not, a 6'6" one. But no, I don't think we did a one-to-one. I think we may have been involved in some tags. I know we were in PPW, we teamed up.
We've definitely tagged.
Yeah, and I think we might have been against one another in some sort of elimination tag in Celtic.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely something that happened.
That rings a bell. And we threw each other around a little bit in early days of training as well.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, like, definitely.
Standard.
I mean, I wish you were involved in those high-flying matches. It'd be nicer to land on you than smaller people.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. You're certainly not going to miss this. No,
so
not that you miss.
Anymore.
Well, firstly, congratulations are in order. Allow me to say it on you. Congratulations on recently becoming a father. How were things there? We were talking a little about it just off the air before we hit record now.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, Carl. I'm not going to lie.
That's fantastic.
It's so rewarding. It's wonderful. Like, I'm sure anybody that's had kids knows it's wonderful, but oh my God, is it tiring? I live on black coffee. I mean, you don't drink coffee for the tastes, but so you get as much black coffee in you as fast as you can. And then you go, right, okay, how am I going to stop you from killing yourself today? Go. She's just turned one, Sarah, and she's the brightest 1-year-old you'll ever meet.
Awesome, man.
Which is wonderful, because she's running around and she's interested in everything and she wants to know how things work. And
she's up on her feet now, Mike. Is she as well? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's up and running, which is like she was running at about, I want to say 8 months old. And I say running because she doesn't slow down. It's not like, oh, I'll take 1 step, 2 step. It's up. Oh, she has 1 speed, which is really cool from the developmental side of things. But from, oh my God, I just want to sit down and drink this coffee.
I wonder where she gets that from, Mike.
No idea. I mean, I'm just going to put the heat on her, ma'am. But
yeah, we all do that, don't we? Huh? We all do that. So let's jump into wrestling then. So my first memory of you was as a young whippersnapper at an NWA UK Hammerlock training session. I believe it was one of the first ones we held in Catay's Community Centre in Cardiff. I think that's the first time we met, because I was involved in the training there. I was just started wrestling in like rumbles and all that, I think, then for Hammerlock.
Yeah.
I was training down in Kent with them, but I managed to talk Andre into bringing something up once a month to Cardiff. Was that the first time we met, first of all, by your recollection?
Yeah, that would have been the first time we met, because I was training at UCW in Trowbridge in the West Country. And I would do that 3 weeks out of the month. And obviously when like Andre would come down every month, I would do the Hammerlock, because
right.
Obviously I'm a Newport boy, so Cardiff was a lot closer than Trowbridge.
Oh, I dare say, yeah. So you're going to save a fortune in petrol and train fares, that's for sure.
Oh God, yeah, because it was like, I think it was something like 2.5 hours each way. So like, if I was getting trained, like, luckily I've like I had my old man as well, so he like my mom and dad are my biggest supporters in anything I've ever done. Like any time my old man could take me, and as you know, because you've met Sean.
Yeah,
so.
I was going to ask, how is Sean? How is he, fellow biker?
He's enjoying being semi-retired. So.
Awesome.
That's he just likes pottering around the house and fiddling with the bike because you've got a Triumph now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when he retired, where do you think all the money went?
Hey, exactly, man. Exactly. Fantastic. I'm not retired yet, but I won't be retiring for a while because I got a Harley and I've been paying for it for 2.5 years now, and I've got another 2.5 years to go. That's without all the add-ons, the servicing, the upkeep, etc. So it's an expensive hobby. I can relate.
Well, see, this is a thing. If he was here now, he'd be having a go at you. He'd say, "Why didn't you buy a Triumph?" But
I know. And if he was here right now, I'd be having a go at him saying, "Why didn't he buy a Harley?" That's how it works. You know, it's a friendly rivalry, us Harley riders and us Triumph riders. You know.
They know he's. I mean, he was old lady drug delivery. So he'd deliver all the prescriptions to
wicked
up the estate. So he's doing as grand as he can, and sometimes looking after my niece, doing granddad duty. So, but he was always my biggest supporter. So he would always he would take me along to shows or I was still playing rugby sort of to quite a high level at the time. Because I didn't believe in burning the candle at both ends, but yeah, he would take me along anywhere, and this is I'm gonna say for some of the shows for Alan, and not so much obviously you, because we knew where we were going with Merthyr, that was easy. But yeah, this is the days before sat nav, so I'd be sat in the passenger seat, he'd be driving, and I'd be there sort of reading a map. So you tell this to people breaking in nowadays, they're like, "Could you just do this?
Just chuck it in your phone."
No, you got to get to. You know what I mean? You got to get to Gilfachgoch, and then you got to sort of ask a fella if he knows where the YYC is.
That's right. Some of them early Alan shows. Alan, for those watching, for those listening, he runs Welsh Wrestling now, which was rebranded as such after its birth of Pro Power Wrestling, PPW. But in the PPW days, those shows would be, I don't know, off the beaten track, up a random road, turn right, then left, then right again, then through the woods, and then just up a hill, and then right, then left, then right again. And then you find a club, you pass the club, you go down the street, take a sharp left, and then you might be there, you might not be. It was that kind of directions, yeah?
Yeah, that was literally it.
That's it. Yeah, I remember them dearly.
But see, some of those shows, they were wonderful because, I try to explain, because I'm living in Kent now, so it's a very different world to a lot of.
I did not realise you were living in Kent. Where?
Rochester.
Oh wow, not too far away from the old NWA stomping ground of Ashford, then.
Well, see, this is the thing. So I actually sort of, and we'll probably touch on it later, but I actually coach in Gravesend. So
amazing. That's crazy. Full circle.
It's very, very sort of cyclical, isn't it? But yeah, so a lot of these shows that we'd be doing, you'd sort of, it'd be like you'd have to sort of march through the Blair Witch Project to get to the venue, and you'd get there, and by the time the bell was, it would be absolutely heaving.
Yeah.
Because nothing goes on in some of these places.
No.
It was like the circus coming to town. So you would go there, and it would be, everybody would be out. Do you know what I mean? Because everybody knows everybody, and they go, "Oh, this thing is in town."
This is going on.
Yeah. But then there were some other ones when we wrestled in front of a man and his dog, and the dog was the more interested party.
Yeah, being there, done them. Yeah. Were you involved in the Caerphilly disaster? Were you on that show, Celtic Wrestling Caerphilly show?
I might have been. I don't know.
You might have been. I know you wrestled with me in Caerphilly once. That was for Orig Williams, so that was. I gave you the call, remember? We'll talk about that in a bit. But for those watching and listening again, we've talked about it on various podcasts. There was a show dubbed as the Caerphilly Disaster, where Daniel Thomas, a.k.a. Papa Smith, Naffets, and Little Danny. They were the Celtic Wrestling ring crew. They were like, "Oh, we'll do a show for you if you give us flyers and everything. We'll fly you and all that." And I was like, "Brilliant, boys, let's do it." I'm really busy at the moment. I'm concentrating on the Cardiff shows, which are my bread and butter, and the Merthyr shows. If it's a hometown show for you, you can feel it brilliant. We'll pack it out. And I think Bob, Bill, and Ted were all in attendance, and Ted wasn't paying attention. It was one of them shows that you just mentioned. Yeah, it was by all means a disaster. So they happen. Was you get them, but if you can work them shows, I say you can work any shows.
Well, this is it. I mean, I promoted promoted a weekender. I thought, we'll try Chepstow. And Newport always did good business, always did good numbers, always good. Always guaranteed of a good house in Newport. We'll try Chepstow the next day.
Didn't work?
Oh, no.
No?
No.
Strange, though, isn't it? It's strange how it works, because I know that show was promoted. I know there were flyers everywhere. But I don't know. We must have missed something,
Well, I think it's the public conscious as well. So, like, it's, I mean, wrestling now, it's no longer really like Christ in the sort of early 2000s. It just come off being hot in America. It wasn't like it was in the 80s and then in the early 90s, but it's a lot more in the public conscious now, and it's more of a thing. Do you know what I mean? It's more of a valid form of entertainment. Do you know what I mean? When like we'd go out with our blooming black and white photocopied posters. I mean, it was, people are sort of looking at me like, really? Does that happen here? Well, no, mate, I'm just asking you to stick a poster up in the window because it's funny. No, it's,
yeah.
I think a lot more people sort of, and I mean, Christ, even in Newport, like if I go back, people sort of don't really know me as Mike Bird or Mike does this, and Mike, it's Mike the wrestler, and I'm sure like you're Carl the wrestler in Merthyr. Do you know what I mean? And that's,
no one knows me as Carl in Merthyr anymore. It's just Caiman.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You know what I mean? Like you were known as, especially Wales. You are your job, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Like die coaches and what have you. And
that's it, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Why is he called Die the Butcher? Well, funny. His name's Dave, and he's a butcher.
You'd never have guessed, right?
Well, it's foreign here. They don't get it. Not a clue. Not a clue. But yeah, it's I think it's just like a lot more of a valid form of entertainment in people's minds. You know what I mean? Like people wouldn't go to see it because they didn't think it was really real. Do you know what I mean? But I think now that like we, especially with stuff like NXT and NXT UK, obviously, like we've all got a lot more validity. I think. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
So I think,
sort of like a stamp of approval then, and by that, it's like, right, this is what they're doing, this is what's going on, this is where they come from to get to here, sort of thing as well, So it shows a journey, and I think from a fan's perspective, it's like, all right, we can watch this now, but we can also watch these before they get to this, which is a cool thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's allowed us as not just wrestlers, but like British wrestling fans to rediscover our heritage. For a long while, like people of a younger generation than mine, because I became a fan right at the end of the 80s and sort of into the 90s as I was growing up. And for the most part, like, it's not like anybody told you about World of Sport Wrestling or All British Wrestlers or XYZ. So like they're younger people than me who just never heard about it. But I think it's now allowing people, not just fans, but wrestlers also, to kind of take pride in where they've come from, which is wonderful. I think things like YouTube are great. Do you know what I mean?
Because to take a look back and study. Yeah,
you can actually actively watch your history, which is wonderful. You know?
That's it. We never used to have that, though, did we? It was just, what you were told or what you were showed on videotapes, or little articles in magazines and stuff. You never had YouTube, never had clips online, nothing like that, you know. But now it's literally at your fingertips.
Well, this is it. So, like, for most people, you go, yeah, have you ever heard of Zoltan Bosick? And they go, oh, no. And then they go, oh, wicked. Oh, he's great.
Yeah, have a look at this.
Yeah, for us, and I still have it just because it's something to have. I have 5th generation VHS Super J Cup 94.
Oh, wow. Classic Japanese.
Well, there you go. Like, so people don't realize tape trading. Do you know what I mean? Like, you pay the man a little bit of money and he sends off and he gets a copy of this thing that someone's got like bootleg from somewhere.
That's
and
it.
Like, it's a foreign world to people. They just go, oh yeah. And then I go on YouTube and I go, look.
There it is. Yeah, right there for you, you know. Some of the quality on them tapes, though, was absolutely abysmal, wasn't it? Especially the Japanese stuff. It must have been copied and copied and copied and copied. Yeah. By the time you get onto my mat, it was just like, what the hell?
It wasn't shot in black and white, but it's definitely in black.
Yeah, absolutely. More of an off blue color. Mine was, I think. Yeah, with lots of little white dots across the screen. But you had a vague idea of what was going on, which helped. You know?
Yeah. Well, like it shows as well because it's actually in 2 parts. I've got 2 tapes.
Yeah.
Because halfway through the final, it cuts off, and you're like,
man.
So like, you have to stick the next tape in.
It wasn't in long play then, no.
Well, see, I think it was long play, but that's probably 16 odd matches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Some of them it wasn't. Yeah, 10 minutes, just send them home happy, boys.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's another level in it, another league.
Yeah.
So let's go back in time then. Let's have a look at your wrestling debut. Where was it? What was it? Who was it with? Who was it against?
Okay, so it was for UCW in Frome, of all places, in the Cheese and Grain.
All right, okay.
Never wrestled. It was a wonderful venue, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the same card as Jake Roberts because.
Oh wow, cool.
Jake was still on his sojourn over here at the time, and he was doing some coaching for UCW.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't he used to dip in with the training there as well? Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean the quality was mixed. I mean, I'm not gonna sort of bandy around like, oh yeah, he was great. Oh no, he's like it was what it was. But some of the stuff that he would say, he's left a lot of very like, especially with stuff like tag wrestling, the psychology of tag wrestling. Like a lot of that has stuck with me throughout the years. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff that I'm repeating to people, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, it's not me.
Well, it is now. You know, he obviously had it from somewhere as well.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's a very intelligent human. So,
oh, he is totally, yeah.
But, yeah, so I was on this. He was on main event. I think I was wrestling the babyface assassin, who was also from the Newport area, but was training there. And that was kind of it. Like he didn't really stick with it or do much after that. But yeah, yeah, that was our first match.
Awesome stuff. How did it go?
I'm gonna say it was great because I haven't watched it back in about 10 years. But
okay,
I'm
watch it back, and we'll have this conversation again.
But it's on VHS, so
that's it. I got some of my early stuff on VHS, and I have watched some of it back. Some of it's all right. Some of it, you can see I'm fresh out of a training school doing what I've been taught completely and utterly to the book, like, you know. And then as it goes on, you lose a bit of that, and then you start finding your way. Sometimes you go down the dodgy path first, and then you start coming back, and you know. So,
well, see, this is the thing. So I would probably class myself as competent there, but I'm hypercritical of myself now. I've always been hypercritical of my stuff, and I always watch back my stuff. You know, I'm not one of these people that thinks my farts don't stink. Do you know what I mean? I know. I want to look back and I want to sort of have a look at stuff, and see how it looks and stuff like that. And
self-critique, see what you could have done better. Yeah,
like because a lot of trainees, and not just people like sort of coach one-to-one or in classes, like a lot of like guys who work in there will come to me and they go, "Hey, can you watch this stuff?" And I'll do it because like I'm doing it for myself. Do you know what I mean? I know what I'm looking for, and I know what they should be doing, because not everybody wrestles the same, but people should move in certain ways and things like that, and they should have certain timing and bits and pieces like that, so I can look at that and I can critique that. But yeah, if I was looking back now, I would say I was on the card.
That's good. That's good enough for me, man. That's good enough for me. Yeah. Yeah. If I look back at my first one, it's probably a case of I was battered pretty much, you know. NWA UK Hammerlock, they hit hard in safe places, but it still hurts safely. But it's good. You know, it was a bit of a baptism of fire, but you learn from that.
I think with that sort of thing, like, I never really looked on that as a negative, because I came from a rugby playing background. And yeah, I would I was a smaller person on the wrestling scene then. And I mean, I'm not huge. Well, I'm probably I am legitimately a heavyweight now.
Yeah, hey, get in, my son. Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. But no, I never really looked at it as a negative, because I kind of like, I came from a rugby playing background, and I was always a very physical player, because I wasn't exactly going to be scoring many tries in the front row, but I was there to sort of run around the pitch and make tackles, and that's the sort of background I came from. And years and years of different martial arts, of like XYZ. But coming into wrestling, I kind of made peace with it. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people, they don't necessarily make peace with, this is going to suck, this is going to hurt. Do you know what I mean? You are going to take knock. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't sort of make peace with that. And for me, I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to hurt, it's going to suck. It's not a tickling contest. Oh, well, get on with it. And being a 16-year-old, I was loving it.
I was in the same place, man, though I was a little older. I think I broke in when I was about 21, 22, I think I was. But I had just finished, so I was in the same place. This is going to hurt. I knew it was going to hurt. I'd literally just finished Foley's first book. So I was in the zone, and I had butterflies in my stomach. All the juices were flowing. I was ready for this. I knew it was going to hurt. I wanted to do what he did. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for that reason, I think I've got dodgy knees, dodgy elbows, dodgy head, you know, dodgy everything. It's just, taking some bumps, which I, looking back, didn't necessarily need to be taken. And if I knew now, or if I knew then, sorry, what I know now, perhaps I wouldn't have took them either.
Yeah, I mean, I look back at the same, but we didn't have the luxury, like, we didn't necessarily have the luxury that like a lot of places has, because a lot of like there weren't really tons of old timers around.
No,
like it wasn't like you had to like tons of old timers around going, hey, maybe this, maybe that, maybe not that, things like that. So I think obviously there was a big, I don't want to say there was a big exodus, but sort of after TV went, there just weren't as many old timers.
No, there wasn't. No, a handful scattered around the map, you know.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And again, Wales especially is a very small population. Do you know what I mean? It's like London has a 3 times the population of an entire country. So like getting a lot of old timers around in Wales is nigh on impossible. So I think in some ways we were kind of left without the without the guidance we wouldn't necessarily have liked.
Yeah, so we kind of had to forge our own path in that respect, then, didn't we? You know, what I used to do, I used to go for a little bit of training here. I'd then go for a little bit there. I then try and bring people in when I started promoting then, and steal a little bit of training from them. Try and put myself on with them as well, just so I could learn a bit from them in the ring, like your Steve Carinos, your Tracy Smothers, and all that. I always say they weren't the best matches I had, but they were the best in-ring on-the-job training experiences I had, and I learned more from them than I got the good match out of them, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's, like, to a certain regard, that's like the best thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Because you're only as, like, as a company, as a territory, as like however you view, like, just South Wales in general, you are only as strong as your strongest competitors. Do you know what I mean? And if you've only got someone that's maybe about this level, do you know what I mean? You're not necessarily getting lifted or raised up. Does that make sense?
That's absolutely it. That's why I would put myself on with these people as well, to try and get that, next step up sort of thing,
Well, that's it. Because, like, if you're wrestling like Steve Carino, like, afterwards he's going to be in your ear. Hey, Carl, Caiman, maybe this, maybe that, maybe not that. Try more of this. Slow down here. And then when you're in the ring with me or Chris or whoever, you can sort of turn around and go, hey, maybe not so much this, maybe that, because this seems to work for Steve, and like he seems to think it'll work for me. So I think this will. Do you know what I mean? I think it's.
You do definitely pass that along then, 100%. Because after I wrestled Tracy Smothers, I had a good sit down with him after. And he, I won't say he tore it apart. He was complimentary in places, but he told me what I needed to do, what I needed to work on, what I needed to sell more of. Like, he was working the leg and everything. And all of a sudden I'm on the top rope and there's not a jitter in my leg or anything. He's like, you want to be really selling it when you're up there, struggling when you're up there. You're thanking God that your leg's not giving way when you're up there. And then you do your move, He said, Arn Anderson would give you a clip. What have you? I'm like, all right, cool. But then I pass this on and he says to me as well, he's like, right, slow it down. Just slow everything down a little bit. You're working too fast to get to the next bit. And by doing that, the current bit isn't mattering like it should matter, So, but I wrestled a guy in UCW myself then, a new guy he was. I forget his name completely. I genuinely do. I'm not just saying it because I don't want to name him on here. I would. But he was like Speedy Gonzalez in there. And straight away, he forgot everything. Straight away. And I was playing the heel. And then it was like, right, I'm in your ear now. I was like, right, okay, first thing you want to do is in the corner with him, just relax, all right? I'm going to tell you everything you got to do, and you're just going to do it, and that's fine. And then from there, what was almost a disaster turned into a half-decent match, you know what I mean? So you do pass it along, though. It's just part of the learning curve.
Well, that's it. Like, I think for a lot of us, I think it's like my mindset, and I know a lot of other people's mindsets, has been, well, there wasn't necessarily as many people around to help me as there could have been. So, well, I really want to make sure that like a lot of people are getting helped out, because Jimmy, it's what's going to make it better. Like, a lot of people could just go, well, no, I'm done. Thank you for the time. This has been wonderful. Bye. But like for me, obviously, I'm still working, still living life. But like the biggest part of coaching is being like making sure guys get the most out of their careers. Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, a lot of people sort of go, oh, Mike, how did you get so good? I go, because I was awful for years and years and years.
It. You've got to be bad to make it a good.
Well, that's it. But nobody saw, because everybody has video now and everybody's got their matches up. And you're expected to be the finished article the moment you walk outside of a wrestling school.
That's right. Yeah, that's a pressure, man. That is as well, isn't it?
Like, again, they didn't have going up bloody to, Blaina Gwent to be crap. Like, they didn't get that. They didn't have the sort of experiences there where they could learn, they could grow. So, like, I'm in a luxurious position of having years and years and years of experience at being crap. So, like, I'm now good. So trying to help them get the sort of the coaching people like us needed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a marathon, isn't it? Not a sprint. It's the old cliche, and it is a marathon. You're not going to come out of a wrestling school, jump in the ring and be the best. You've got to work towards the best. You've got to have some crap matches, I think, as well, to learn from. I've had them, plenty of them.
We've all had them. Like, do you mean, like, I'd like to think I've had more good than bad, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's a fact. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've wrestled however many hundreds of matches, math says at least a couple are going to be a bit naff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, standard. Yeah. I had a few. The crappiest of matches were probably in my early Celtic days. My crappiest matches were. I did have a couple of naff ones there. That's when I really took the reins on myself. And first of all, I started going down this old, right, I'm going to bleed every night. I don't know if you remember that, Mike, do you?
You know what? It was like Memphis back in the day.
Yeah, it was. It was just, I'm going to bleed every night. And that, by crap matches, what I mean is just filling them up with weapons and making that my gimmick for a while. And I wasn't actually wrestling. I wasn't actually doing the things which I had been taught to do. Instead, I was taking a shortcut in many ways. And I do critique myself for it because it was maybe the lazy man's way of doing things as well for a bit. But I was taking a shortcut by doing basic wrestling to begin, then popping myself open, bleeding everywhere, getting my sympathy that way, and then coming up with a finish at the end, you know?
Well, that's it. But that's it. Like, I think we all look, and like I've been guilty in different ways of doing similar. Like, we all look at things differently. You go, okay, well, like for you, it's like, oh, well, if I get some color early, and then I do this, and the crowd are going to react big, and that's exactly what. Like, and for me, it was like, oh, if I do a mad dive, or if I do stuff like that, and we don't necessarily look at it. We go, okay, but like, if I do that now, I've got to cool off next month when we're here. Like, I've got to make sure I don't do this, and this. We go, okay, well, how am I going to top that? And then we sort of
without losing heat, like,
you know, we've constantly got to nudge it up to the point where, how do you follow it? Do you know what I mean? What do you follow a stabbing with? A shooting? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's it, man. That's it. It's scary. It's a progression, isn't it?
But that's it. So like, it's not like we do things like that because people are like Pavlovianly conditioned. Oh, well, that's wild. Big response. And we go, okay, we got a big response. Let's do it again. Not, well, we got a big response. The next time it's not going to get the same response.
No, it won't, because they've already seen it, you know?
Yeah, like, we're not thinking like that. We're thinking, this has got a response. Let's do it. And then we do it again. And we're like, why didn't it get as big a response? Oh, I have to do something madder. Or if I just cool it off, don't do it. Just sit back on it. And then I can bust it out for birthday or Christmas. And people go, ah.
That's it, yeah.
But like, we did, again, going back to it, we didn't have people to tell us that. Like,
that's the trouble. We were fending for ourselves. We had our training, you know. Yeah. All right, the Hammerlock training was decent training. But then after that, especially when I started running Celtic Wrestling, it was just like, right, I'd only been wrestling for about 2 years, and I wasn't regular either. And that's the reason I started Celtic Wrestling, to get more bookings, to get myself more bookings, you know. But yeah, I wasn't a promoter. I was a wrestler who was, or an upcoming wrestler who was promoting, you know. So I had a lot to learn. I had a lot to learn about, right, if I'm putting this on in match 1, I can't have this in match 2. If this is on in my main event, I can't go having it just before the interval as well, you know. And that would often happen. So I've made mistakes in that respect as a promoter as well as a wrestler, you know.
But that's it. So like, I've been guilty of that sort of stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much you learn along the way. Like, I think, well, I don't want to say people are lucky that they've got a lot more people now who are looking out for them, but I think a lot more people are willing to sort of go out of their way to help people now, which is a lovely thing. I mean, it's just like, it can only be a positive for wrestling in this country.
Definitely, man. Definitely. What's your memories of working in Celtic then? You were a regular there for probably a couple of years.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was there pretty much, well, until it folded up. Do you know what I mean? Like,
pretty much from the start as well, give or take a show or two.
Yeah, like think I'm pretty certain I was on the first. I know, yeah, first show. I honestly, Carl, I loved it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was, and I can tell you exactly what the schedule would be, because a lot of the time we'd be running Saturdays, and like I said earlier, I was still playing rugby. I was still playing rugby to quite a high level. So I would play rugby in the morning, wherever, whatever valley I was up, I'd be there, play there, get showered, have a bit of food at the rugby club, whichever club it would be. If it was home, even better. Back to my house, pick up my kit, and then we'd go either to Cardiff or Merthyr for you, and then finish the show up, back to Newport, and go out on the piss with the boys from the rugby.
Brilliant. Talking of on the piss, we'll get to that in a moment. But my favourite match of yours that I can think of in Celtic wrestling, we had a bit of a talent exchange going on with the Irish Whip lads. Yeah. I'm not sure if you share this feeling with me or not, but you and Red Vinny from Irish Whip Wrestling tore the house down one night in Canton, and it was amazing.
I found that on DVD a while back, and Paige, who I've been with for, going on 5 years now.
Yeah.
She, like, obviously she's seen me work, and like she's super involved with everything I do nowadays, which is a godsend, and we'll probably get to that later. But yeah, she was she was like, "Oh, what's on this?" I was like, "Oh God, let's have a look." and I watched that back, and there's two matches from that sort of time period that really stand out. It's me and Red Vinny, Canton. Yeah. And me and Marcus Cole from Canton again.
Oh, wicked. Marcus Cole, yeah. Shout out Marcus Cole. He's down under now, isn't he, in Australia?
He's doing wonderful. And
the hooligan.
You know what? It's quite funny, because like there's obviously like a lot of Antipodeans will come through this way, and like especially like the Kiwis, they'll go, "You wrestled my coach," and I go, "Yes, it is."
Brilliant, man.
And then I instantly feel old.
Yeah, oh, that's it, man. I feel old every time now. Every time I've got to walk into a locker room on Saturday. I'm doing the comeback job for Pro Wrestling Carnage. I've got to walk into the locker room on Saturday, and I'm definitely 99.9% going to be the oldest guy in our locker room.
It's coaching is wonderful, because it keeps me young, and it keeps me moving, it keeps me fit, and obviously I'm working as often as I want now, which is lovely.
That's good, man.
But yeah, I made a reference to something, I can't even remember what it was, and just the room was absolutely flat. It was silent, and I was just sort of like, no
one got it.
None of you remember the 90s? No? Oh, okay. And it made me feel old as well.
Yeah, well, we are now, mate. Some of us older than others, of course, you know?
I mean, like, you might be going grey, but if I had the hair to go grey, it would be a minor.
Well, my hair's fine. It's just my hair's still a nice shade of dark brown, but the beard is... especially on one side, I'm going to go faster straight on the left for some reason. I don't know what that's about. Maybe all the stress is on this side of my head, perhaps, and that's what it is.
I mean, look at me. Oh, God, this is got to be coaching and parenting is...
Hey, you're upside down, man. No. What's going on? I'm getting dizzy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Jeez. I'm too old for that. Celtic wrestling. So after Celtic wrestling, quite often you would be part of the party that would crash at my place. Do you remember these times? You probably don't remember a lot of these times. What I should say is, what do you remember about these times?
I remember drinking occasionally. I had a few adult beverages, and a wonderful time was had by all.
Do you remember coolers?
Oh God, yeah.
Can I tell a funny story which I remember about coolers?
You can.
Okay. Bear in mind, we're all a lot older, we're all a lot mature. Well, some of us are, some of us aren't. But you got chucked out of coolers one night. Do you remember that?
I remember being told about this. I don't remember what
Okay, you got chucked out of Coolers. I was still in. I was coming to the double doors by Coolers. I was like, where's Mike? Where's Mike? We had to kick him out. The bouncer said, what's he done? I don't remember what it was. I don't remember if it was a little scrap or a little shoving match or something. I don't know. Probably a shoving match or something. I don't think it went too serious. But you got chucked out. I was heading towards the doors then, and there you were, this little flash passing, little backflips, passing the door. You had your top off outside. You were doing backflips past the door, Coolers. Do you remember this? It is true.
Yes, I remember. I do remember that. I don't remember how many backflips I was doing.
I think it was about 2 it was, but it was bloody impressive.
Well, this is the thing. My backflips have always been sort of shonky, so like how I was pulling them off.
Must have been because you were pissed.
Yeah, that's what it is. I actually need my equilibrium completely out of whack.
They were great, man. They were great. We did have some good times, man. I'd often wake up wondering what wrestlers would be downstairs in my living room or in the spare bedroom. You know, I'd have a quick check around the house, come down. I remember one night, I didn't know you were there. Tyler Brown was on the settee downstairs. Yeah. I came down, I was talking to him, and then I just heard, Terrence, ha! Do you recall? I was like, what the heck? Mike Bird's here. South Park, yeah? He remembers.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. Guilty as charged.
Oh, brilliant, man, brilliant. Let's talk about Orig Williams then. So we'll move on from Celtic. We talked a bit about PPW and the hidden venues earlier on. Orig Williams. So Orig, I managed to not weasel my way, but I managed to find my way onto an Orig Williams show, right? I basically phoned the promoter, phoned the venue, asked them if they had a number for the promoter. They weren't allowed to give it, but they passed my number on, and Orig rang me then. So
yeah, Christ, like if I haven't used a telephone number to speak to a promoter.
I know, what the hell? That's how very 90s.
Message him on Facebook, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it, you know. But yeah, Orig rang me back and he said, all right, I'll take a look at you. So I met him in Caerphilly. That was Caerphilly as well. I met him in the Caerphilly Leisure Centre, had a coffee with him and his referee, Peter, Irish gentleman. And he had a chat with me. He had a little chat with me, right? Why do you want to wrestle for me then and everything? And I was, you know, cliche answer. I love doing it. I love being involved. I want to progress. It's what I go to bed thinking about. It's what I wake up thinking about. Good boy, he said. Do you speak Welsh? No. You should be hung, drawn, and quartered, he told me. I was like, sorry, I can learn, though. I can learn. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, oh, excellent. But he said to me then as well, he phoned me a couple of days later. He said, this show on, I think it was a Friday. This show, can you get another wrestler on the show? I was like, I can try. He said, that's good. Well, ring me back and let me know. And then I gave you the call then. I gave you a call. And I was like, Mike, Orig Williams, show in Caerphilly this Friday. It might have been like on a Thursday I rang you or something. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of notice. Can you do it?
Could even have been on the day.
It may well have been. I know he was a man down.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk us through your memories of that, man.
Because I remember getting the call sort of quite like on the day. It was quite late, so I was
may well have been on the day then. Apologies, I may have got that wrong. Yeah.
And yeah, because that's sort of my memory of it being on the day, because I think I'd like been to college. I think I'd come back, or I not long sort of got in, spoke to you, and I was like, oh Christ. And I ended up, I was like, oh, I think my mum had sort of said, oh no, I gotta go to gotta take the kid, like my baby brother and sister somewhere. Dad was at work, so I was like, all right. So they was trying to work out the bus routes and how to get to the Caerphilly. I was like, right, okay. 16-year-old me, so I'm trying to work out, go there. But so yeah, I think because I worked it out, I got my wrestling bag, jumped on the bus. It wasn't it was the X15.
There we are. It's all coming back now, Mike.
I was just trying to work out which ones went where. You asked me what 5 minutes ago. Wouldn't be able to tell you. Ask me what.
I'm like, the short term is horrific, but the long term memory is amazing.
Yeah, you asked me what bus I got on here 20 years ago. Oh, I got it. But yeah, so got there. And I think I got there quite late because I never actually met, or I didn't first meet Orig. So I sort of came in and I was directed backstage and what have you. And I remember this being, as I was a kid, I was like, you're in a sort of man's world as a little boy.
I felt exactly the same in our locker room.
Yeah, and like you had James Mason, you had Christ, because like the match was me and James against the Pitbulls.
UK Pitbulls. I fought them the next night then with Justin Styles, who was my opponent on that night.
Well, see, this was this. So they like I was sort of very much like that, but James Mason is James Mason. Do you know what I mean?
He's awesome.
What good can you say that hasn't already been said?
Exactly, man. Great guy as well.
Yeah, and the Pitbulls who look like they'd eat you. I mean, they probably could have eaten me, Mike and Dave. But some of the lightest workers I've ever been in with. And
they were good, weren't they?
Yeah, I was a kid. I was a kid and I could have been trying to get their spots and they could have eaten me up and spat me out. But no, they were wonderful. They were really good. And they were sort of just coaching me through, like during the match, they were coaching me through everything. And I had Pete in my ear, the referee. He was, no, sell more, die a bit more. Okay, boom, boom. And yeah, it was a real learning experience. I come back and Jane Klondike Kate was there and she was like, okay, you want to do this, you want to do that. And they honestly, like everybody there.
She was a good advice lady, she was.
Oh,
I found.
I haven't spoken to her in a while, but Christ, I can't remember. I might have been Weymouth I saw her last. So yeah, no, she's they're wonderful human being. But I remember sort of doing the show and then doing the Rumble as well. And it was great. It was wonderful. It was a really good experience. And I remember being like, "Oh, excuse me, Miss Klondike Kate. Who do I see?" She said, "Oh, you see Mr. Williams." Oh, so there's me, 16-year-old me, and he was in the wheelchair then because he wasn't the one very well. But yes, I was like, "Okay, cool."
No, he's on crutches. I think he was, Mike. I think he was on crutches then.
Oh no, he was in the wheelchair.
Definitely, was he? Yeah. Okay. Perhaps he was later on.
I remember this.
Right. Oh, okay.
I go up to him, right? I walk up to him. Oh, Mr. Williams, thank you for the opportunity. All this, you did really well, my boy. He hands me my envelope. He goes, "It's just a pity you ginger." And he turns in his wheelchair. Just
my God, I was going to bring this up. He gave me feedback on you, right? He gave me feedback on you. He said, he's a good kid, he is. He's a good kid. He's got good fire. But tell him from me, he needs to dye his hair blonde. In his North Walian accent, like, he needs to dye his hair blonde. I can't do it, but that's what he said to me. He needs to go blonde and he'll go further. So I'm not sure. Did I tell you? I did tell you, didn't I? But I did. You were like, oh, he's already told me.
I think a couple of guys have told me since as well. So I know Alan told me as well. But
yeah.
But yeah, it was just he said that. And it was like it was the way he turned in the wheelchair as well. I was like, "Oh, you're done with me. Okay, thank you very much."
That's it. Dye your hair. Well, pity your ginger. Back in the room. Back to business. Yeah.
God, get out here.
I thought Orig was great. One of the most straight talking people I've ever met in wrestling.
Honestly, I wish I could have done more for him. Like,
yeah,
I wish I
mean, well, I could have. He offered me a tour in Ireland as well on the back of that, but I could have possibly taken the time off work to do it. Yeah. But for some reason, I didn't. I'm not sure if my arse went a bit, Mike, or if I'm being realistic and honest. But it was like a 5-dayer in Ireland, and that to me then was the biggest thing for me, you know.
Yeah,
I think if we're being honest, my arse went is the truth. But I regret that to the day.
Do you know what, mate? I wouldn't be surprised because there's been instances where like the big opportunities are like I'm again so lucky I've got Paige. Do you know what I mean? Because like opportunities have presented myself, and I'll sort of get a bit in. You get a bit in your head, and
Yeah.
like having her, she's like, no, don't be a knob. Do the thing. Do this, do that, like, and yeah, it's like I said, if it wasn't for her, yeah, but like it happens, man. Like stuff like that, and it's like people don't get it, do they? Do you know what I mean? They're like, they think, oh well, I would just take the opportunity. You're like, you're not necessarily somebody that's going to present similar opportunities, because you don't know, you really don't know, and like, and you certainly weren't the first person like that would have that happen to you, and you definitely won't be the last.
Oh, no, I dare say, but it is one of the things that I think, I should have just done it. Should have just took the bull by the horns and gone for it. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're here now, innit?
We're here now, mate. We're here now.
And,
you know, we're here to tell the tales, and we got lots of tales to tell. So that's a good thing, if nothing else, right? Talking of tales to tell me about the tale of Dragon Pro. How did that come about? What was your involvement, and where were the initial seeds?
Okay, so Ed, who'd sort of taken over the Hammerlock training.
Ed Ferris?
Yes. Yeah, he'd basically finished up with Hammerlock training. So it was kind of like, there were a lot of guys, and like, I don't want to sort of be like, try and make myself seem like some sort of selfless hero or anything stupid like that. But they were like a lot of guys who would have been left without like regular training.
Yeah, nowhere to go.
Do you know what I mean? So like guys like your Hitch, your Mark, your Flashes, like they were all really good dudes. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh well, I can do this. And like I'd sort of been helping a lot with the coaching anyway, so it was just a sort of case of like picking up where that left off and carrying on. And yeah, I didn't do it for me, I did it for other people, because as time has shown, it was the right thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Considering like my 3 first students are now working for Vince.
Absolutely, that's fantastic as well, and a shout out to all of you gentlemen. You know, so I don't.
You know what? I couldn't have asked for a better first class.
So no, that's fantastic, mate. That's fantastic. Great stuff. I remember Mark at an NWA UK Hammerlock show. Him and a couple of little lads. They were tiny. And he was tiny. I remember him. He was like, and he had this floppy hair and all that. And in the one of the infamous Hammerlock raffles, he won a Caiman t-shirt. He did.
Yeah.
You are?
I wonder if he still got it.
I wonder if he has. Can I have it back, please? Mark, if you've still got it, can I have it back? It looked good on my wall a bit. I haven't got enough memorabilia. I've sold my soul, basically, in memorabilia, and I don't have any of my own anymore, my old stuff.
You know what?
All new shizzle now.
You know, I got rid like so much kit, like old kit, because to sort of follow on with the coaching, you'd have guys come through and they'd be like, "Oh, Mike, where'd you go for your trunks or your tights?" And I'd like, because a lot of my stuff was like unbranded or something, like plain stuff. I'd be like, "Oh well, I've got some shorts, I've got some tights, I've got some trunks." So like you've seen half of the guys come out to school, they're all dressed in my kits.
That's it. Well, Scouts used to have a couple of my singlets, my old ones, the ones with like pretty patterns on and all that, you know. There's a guy in the Midlands as well who used to buy some of my old stuff off me as well. But now most of it has got Caiman on it somewhere, you know, either across the chest or across the butt or whatever, depending on what shape I was in at the time, whether it's singlet or trunks. It'll be singlet on Saturday, no doubt. But yeah, that's it. I can't get rid of my gear now. And my pink and green trunks, they are up on the wall in a glass frame. They are, you know.
I like it. Gotta say, Carl,
they were my favorites. They were my favorites. But when I'm in shape now, I've got the opposite. I've got green and pink ones. So green with pink writing instead. So we'll see how they go. I'll have to do a few more crunches, a few more sit-ups, and get a diet going first. But all good.
This is the thing, right? best shape I've been in for years. I wear tights and singlets. So.
Get the trunks on, man. Get the trunks.
I mean, I've paid for the singlet. I'm wearing the singlet.
That's the thing, innit? That's the thing. Ah, man, singlets. Do you remember how many singlets I used to have? They used to burst out of my bag at one point. It was every color of the rainbow, I think.
The ones that always, like, I remember like 5 or 6 different shades of green.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a pink one?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I remember a half and half black and white one as well.
Yes, God, I only wore that a handful of times. Yeah.
I remember the car.
Yeah, good man. Good man. Well played.
All up there. What I had for lunch, no idea.
Exactly, innit? Exactly.
What I'm supposed to be doing around the house, not a clue.
Well,
black and white singlet.
Yeah, well, if we're talking memories and wrestling gear, I remember your first kick pads.
Which ones?
The white ones.
I'm interested to see which ones you think of my first ones.
Oh, perhaps they know your first then. They're the white ones you used to wear to training. They were like foamy ones. They were.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, that's them. Is it? Yeah. They were epic.
I upgraded to the black and red Viper ones.
Yeah, I remember them. Well, they were cool. They were cool ones. They were. The other ones not so cool.
Well, see, this was the thing. So I wore the black and red kick pads, right? Because those were expensive.
Yeah.
I had to buy black and red kit. I eventually
build your kit around your kick pads, like.
Yeah, I eventually sort of managed to sort of scrounge and save for a pair of black kick pads. So then I could have whatever colour kit, and I ended up getting more black and red kit.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. It worked though, didn't it? It worked, and those are your colours for a while.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
Excellent stuff.
I've upgraded to orange and black now.
Good man. Living the gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's got a match.
Well, that's it. It works though, doesn't it? It does. So, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Embrace it.
It's very, very sweet now.
The name Flying Mike Bird, there's a test now for your memory. Do you remember who first gave you that name?
Modge.
No, me.
No more.
Yeah.
Was it you?
Yeah, I started writing it on the run sheet of the shows. Modge may have been the first one to call you it off the run sheet. But I started just putting Flying in front of Mike Bird on the shows I did.
I just thought he was announcing me, is it?
No, I started writing there on the run sheets I did. So yeah, you're welcome.
I've been paying my royalties to the wrong bloke then.
Oh, what? Where is he? I'll flame him, we'll have him.
What's 10% of nothing?
Hey, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's 10% more than what I got now. Well, pretty much the same as what I got now, to be honest. Hey, all good, man. All good. So tell me about your journey Flying Mike Bird after Dragon Pro then. So what happened there? So I remember reading a post. It was quite an emotional post where you were thankful to everyone who'd been involved in your journey, etc. And you were going to take this other path now. Talk me through that.
I was just like, because I've been training guys for God knows how long. And like I hadn't really had it's not like I had a prolonged period of not coaching and working and doing stuff. And I was just burnt out, and like a lot of people experience in wrestling and in any form of sport and entertainment. Do you know what I mean?
I totally relate. That's why I left in the first place.
Yeah, and this is it. So you hear of a lot of people burning out, and musicians just being like, nope, that's it, I'm done, I'm walking away. So for me, I'd been working and coaching for years and years and years without sort of any prolonged time off, and having personal circumstances change and things like that, and still going through and still coaching and still working up and down the country and just going. And it just got to the point where I was just I just can't handle it anymore. I can't. Do you know what I mean? I was just ready to sort of burn myself out completely. And I was I obviously didn't want to walk away from wrestling, but I knew that I couldn't carry on coaching.
Yeah.
because I was just so burnt out, and so I was just constantly tired, constantly drained, and yeah, so that was like I had to sort of like I had to take a break, and luckily, sort of during that break, it was like a lot of sort of bad stuff sort of happened around the same time. Like I lost my little brother as well.
Yeah, man, I remember that. I'm so sorry to hear about that, brother, as well.
It is what it is. You know what
I know, mate. I know.
But like sort of coming through that, like I was really just lucky to have met Paige. So we basically knew each other through mutual friends, and yeah, I was sort of, for a long period of time, I was still sort of like just not in a good sort of headspace. Do you know what I mean? She was wonderful. She was much better to me than I ever was to myself, and it's like she's really stuck by me and helped me sort of like through a lot. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's pretty wonderful. It's pretty wonderful. Like she was amazing. So we started dating, and then like after a short while, we were like, oh well, just fancy moving in together because we seem to get on. And she was like, well, do you want to come and sort of have a look at South Wales? And she's like, well, I'm kind of stuck here because she's a teacher, she's a very good teacher, but she was like, I'm stuck here, I'm set up here with this job. I was like, well,
up in Kent, yeah.
So I was like, oh well, I mean, all I've got really is my friends and family in Newport, and do you know what I mean? Like a lot of the friends that I got, I'm gonna be seeing on the road anyway.
Absolutely, of course you are.
And a lot of the time, I'll be coming back to Newport anyway for work, so I can drop in and see family and friends that I'm not going to be seeing on the road. So, I gave it a go, and I've been here ever since.
Fantastic. When was that? When did you make the move?
Oh,
because I didn't realize until you said at the top of this that you had moved.
Well, it must have been about, Christ, about 4 years ago now.
Is it that long? Bloody hell. Okay.
I just say I don't think I don't think I've not sort of avoided making it public knowledge. I think a lot of people know I'm here. I just think
yeah, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't need to. You know, yeah.
It's one of those things that I don't think everybody needs to know where I am.
Yeah, well, we won't go there, right?
But yeah, it's been nice staying here. It's been real nice. It's a very nice area of the world. Do you know what I mean? And like having come up this way to do Hammerlock stuff.
Crazy, man, crazy. Yeah, it's like I said earlier on. It's like full circle in it. I know Kent is a very lovely part of the world because I've spent a lot of time there in the early days. You know, Maidstone, Margate, Hammerlock, Ashford, Sittingbourne. You know, those are the ones that which spring to mind. Like, but it's crazy you've gone back.
Yeah, it was the Winter Gardens in Margate, wasn't it?
Correct. Yes, it was.
Yeah, no, I've been up here for 4 years now, and I've been loving it.
Absolutely good, man. Fantastic. Good. You staying put then? Yeah, you're gonna stay up there. You're settled up there.
Yeah, we're settled up here. It's great. Like it's great for I've opened up the schools down this way, so that's going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Then unless Vince wants to fly me out to Florida, I don't foresee myself having to move too far.
Never say never.
Well, no, I mean, we flirted before.
Yeah, we're coming on to that next. Let's talk about that. You and Vince have flirted then. Let's talk about this flirtatious set of circumstances. Tell us a story. Go on. What's the deal there?
Well, I've obviously done things like extra work for them, and it's wonderful. It's long days, and you get fed catering, and it's wonderful. If you watch some episodes of Raw and SmackDown, there's me and a few other gentlemen going in the background.
Awesome.
You know, it's it's good money, and people see you and what have you. And it's nice to catch up with old friends that are there. Like, got to have a good chat with Drew whilst he was there, and Tommy as well. So it was lovely to speak to them. But the big debut that was not so much a big debut. I got contacted by a gentleman that works for NXT, or asking me if I could if I'd be available to do the NXT tapings in Cardiff. To which I said yes, even though I was supposed to be on holiday.
Don't matter. Don't let a small thing like that get in the way.
Well, this is it. So, like, I looked at the page. I'm like, are we supposed to be? And she's like, no, go on. You got it. So,
can I just ask, where were you supposed to be on holidays?
So we were supposed to be going to the seaside, only like down the road in Whitstable.
Okay.
They've been absolutely lovely little sort of seaside town in Kent.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's I was supposed to be going there, so I looked at her and like, what do I say? And she's like, no, you're gonna go and do it. I'm like,
yeah. Well, you could always, drive back. Long drive, I know, but you're just missing a day or two, perhaps, or something.
Well, there was supposed to be a weekend away, but do you know what?
It was a weekend, was it? Sorry, I heard a week. Sorry.
No, we were supposed to, yeah. So got the call, or got the email, excuse me. So sent through a lot of there's a lot of forms that you've got to go through, like and like rightly so. Do you know what I mean? They don't turn up sort of with a leg hanging off and like not being able to remember your own name.
Being there, cool as.
Well, didn't do any backflips this time. So no, you get, and then you sort of have to run around and try and get all your like medical stuff done, and it's a very peculiar thing because obviously the med forms and things are all sort of designed with the American healthcare system in mind. Whereas over here, you can't just rock up to your GP and go, yeah, I need you to fill in some forms for us, but do you know what I mean? Like, I need you to take some bloods. I need you to do this, this, and this. I need you to do an eye test and stuff like that.
Don't work like that, no.
No, do you know what I mean? I think a lot of the guys have been saying now that I think they're a bit more savvy to that. But yeah, like then it was like run around and trying to sort of get this and that. And yeah, it was a bit hectic, but yeah. So came in and like I was informed the sort of week of, because it was literally the sort of weekend before, and I'd be always offered the position to be there. And I was informed sort of like a day or so later, like what I'd be doing. And yeah, it was absolutely wild. It was a wonderful experience. It's again, it's nothing. It's a sort of 5-minute segment for TV. It was great. And it's wonderful to sort of see how the system works. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, be part of that big machine,
and,
like,
Yeah, it's just like, it's really good to sort of talk with like guys like Regal, like, and sort of pick his brains on stuff. And that was great. And getting to sit down and chat with Johnny Saint properly.
Awesome.
Like he's wonderful, and I use him as an example for trainees now when we're doing conditioning. So if Johnny Saint can do 100 squats daily at 8 years old with 2 new knees,
exactly. Squat down, biatch.
Yeah, no, he was great, and like sort of getting to interact with Shawn Michaels, and like it's mind blowing to me that all of these lads, do you know what I mean, like they're going to Shawn and Hunter for feedback. Do you know what I mean?
That's wicked, isn't it? Amazing.
It was honestly, it was wonderful, and getting to see Mark and Flash win the tag team championships. Like, I'm stood like 200 yards from your kids are winning and they're becoming the first Welsh champions.
Yeah, that's amazing achievement. Shout out, boys.
You know what I mean? They're just they're not just doing you proud, they're doing themselves proud, and they're doing their country proud, and it's wonderful to see.
It is brilliant to see, man. It's lovely to see them doing so well for themselves. It's lovely to see them doing so good. They've worked hard for it, and they deserve everything they get, as far as I'm concerned.
No one's worked harder than those kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're coming from I'm not gonna lie, like, they're coming from a pissy little country with next to nothing going on. And I love Wales as much as any true-blooded Welshman. But we know there are only so much, like, in the way of opportunities, like, there in anything, music, sports, anything. And to see those boys get that far, that's hard work. That's dedication.
And it pays off, man.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's evidence. If you, with any trainees, and they're saying, oh, why should I work so hard? Why should I work so hard? Show them, I was going to say, show them a videotape. Show them a YouTube clip of them two boys, right? And say, this is why you should work this hard, because hard work pays off.
Well, that's it. And they've come from, like, a similar sort of, all right, yeah, they're sort of a few generations removed, but, like, they've come from the same places. Do you know what I mean? They've seen similar things to us. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, things were better when they were starting, but they've still seen, like, the Gurnus. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, and Galnacha.
Yeah, Christ. Do you know what I mean? Fockeroo, Christ.
Yeah.
All these places, they've still seen them, and they've still seen them when, like, houses are down, and they're now at the pinnacle. They're at the top. They're where you aspire to be, and it's not unattainable. It's not unattainable. Old one, and it's just a great inspiring story that's all about hard work paying off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
brilliant.
And to get to do the little angle with them sort of next day on NXT, that was just great. Do you know what I mean? And have Paige, and it was a surreal experience, because, again, you talk about your arsehole going, like, that was very much an arsehole was going. As
I can imagine, Mike.
But it was wonderful, because a load of the lads that I train here in Kent came down, and Paige was there. And
I want to take you back to going out to the curtain and to coming through the curtain and getting into the ring. How was that for you? Obviously, it was a packed house. Were you able to pick any faces out from there or not?
You know what? I caught a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd imagine a lot of people there would have known who you were anyway as well.
Well, this was the thing. So it was a weird one, because it was a flat stage. It's not like how Raw used to be, where it'd be on the raised stage and it'd drop down. It was flat. So, and the screen is sort of bump there. It's not like raised up again. So I walk out the curtain, you hear a rumble because my name's on the screen. So there's people that can see the screen. They sort of, oh my God, because, like, there's a lot of people that will come to shows. Like, I've been to shows in Cardiff, Newport, do you know what I mean, Bristol, all that sort of southwest area that know me. There's people that travel from London, like, they know me, from wherever they know me. And the people on the aisle, they see me and they're like, oh my God, it's Mike.
Brilliant.
And then as I'm walking down the aisle, I start getting introduced. And as soon as, like, they from Wrestling of Newport, South Wales, people click, because there's probably about 3 wrestlers from Newport, South Wales.
Yeah.
And I'm 2 of them. So like, they took a lot of them click, and then I get in the ring and my name goes, and yeah, like, they lose it. And it was a wonderful experience. I didn't need a match. I didn't need anything. That's all I needed. Do you know what I mean? It was just that sort of moment, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. You can go back and watch it on the WWE Network. Cheap plug.
Brilliant.
But yeah, no.
Take note, Vince. Take note.
It was wonderful. It was a really great experience, and yeah, like I said, to be able to sort of play, like, even a small part in Margaret Flash's story, then, like, was just great.
I just remember seeing a photograph of you in your orange, I believe, as well.
Yeah, orange.
In the ring there with this cheeky look on your face, and I saw you there, and I thought, yeah, he's made it home. Like, you know, that's what I thought. I thought, to me, it was like a little happy ending for you, and it was a happy ending for me, because I know you and we're friends, and it's just nice to see friends doing good things, you know. And I knew that's where you wanted to be, and it was just like
honestly, it was a wonderful experience. And like there was just a little sort of note, like after this too. So I came back and just like I just hear Mike Bird. I'm like, well, that's a weird Texas accent. And I turn around, there's Shawn Michaels.
Oh my God.
And he's there, and I give me some wonderful feedback. He's like, "Oh, you did a really good job, and thank you ever so much." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you, Shawn, Mr. Shawn."
That's absolutely mental, that isn't it? You know,
you're just like, Mr. WrestleMania saying you did a good job and patting you on it. You know what I mean? And then
that's cool, man. Take that comment and frame it, man.
And you got like Regal going, "Oh no, you did a great job. You did exactly what we needed you to do." And like I'm under no illusion. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm a bit player in somebody else's story, and that's absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? That was my job for that night.
That's right. Yeah, that was your job, and you did it well. And you were told that you did it well.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. One of the sweetest things was, like after the CIA motor point.
Yeah, I know it really well. Yeah.
So you come out the back gate. So show's done and all that. Like text page, just okay, I'll sort of make my way out round the front. So we have to go out through the back, and you know how it is after every Raw.
Yeah, the hangers round and everything. Yeah,
everybody's there. So I'm walking out, and I'm walking through that back gate, and I just hear Mike. I'm like, and I look up, and I see Shirley.
Ah, he's everywhere, man, isn't he?
But he was there with Abby.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen her since she was like yay high.
Yeah.
And like me and Hitch just have this joke constantly because she was this really sweet little girl.
Yeah.
Who was full of beans all the time.
She was crazy as a kid when she's running around everywhere.
She was wonderful. But like she would she'd run up to you as a kid and she'd go, Mike. And like if me and Hitch would be sat talking, Mike, can you throw me? And that stuck with us like forever.
Oh, crazy. Well, funny you should mention that she's looking to get into wrestling now as well, you know?
I believe if Hitch, who took over Dragon Pro from me, like I believe he'll be starting back up because he's recovering from a similar surgery to me with his MCL. I believe, that's a lot going on. So I believe he'll be back up and running at some point in the future.
Excellent. Yeah, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, but just for me, it was a really sort of sweet feeling, like sort of coming out and seeing Shirley and little Abby, who like isn't little anymore.
What would she have been then? About 16 then, perhaps, is it?
Yeah, 16, 17. She must have been.
Yeah, I think she's about, I don't know, she 18, 19 now, I want to say.
Yeah, like, and you're just like, oh my God, Can You Throw Me Girl? Like, it's just so weird. It's so surreal, but it was such a lovely, it was almost like just reminding me of like where I've come from.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's nice. You see these little things and they do that all the time, constantly, though. It's a nice thing.
Yeah, honestly, it was a wonderful experience.
I was going to ask you to pinpoint a highlight from your career. Have we just done that?
That's one, but
give me another then if you've got one.
You know what? So obviously I since moving to Kent, I've opened a new training school because all these soft Southern English wrestlers, they need to know how to wrestle proper. You see, Carl.
This is it, Mike. This is it.
But no, so obviously myself and Paige, who is the manager, like that's not a made-up title. She's the one that does the vast majority of the work. Do you know what I mean? Like I just turn up and put headlocks on. But we're lucky to be working with a wonderful gentleman, Jay Hughes, who is one of the owners of Bulk's Gym in Gravesend, and the gym, which is the most diverse gym you'll probably find in anywhere really, because not only does it have Olympic lifters, it has power lifters, it has a full strongman team. Do you know what I mean? Like
awesome.
Jay himself competed several times with Britain's Strongest Man, Europe's Strongest Man. Like he beat Eddie Hall in several events. Do you know what I mean?
We've been about a bit then.
Oh God, yeah. But
Yeah.
he was always interested in wrestling. So he bought a ring, and I basically took over his coaching staff, and like me and
Was
Paige,
that a right place, right time kind of deal, or what?
it was like the planets aligned, mate.
Yeah. That happens, though. I'm a firm believer in fate and in everything happening for a reason. And you've gone down there for a reason, and this could well be it, you know?
Well, this is it. So one of the highlights of my career was running a show with just all our trainees, and selling out a gym.
Amazing.
We turned the gym into a wrestling studio, and like me and Paige booked it because, like I said, she books better than half the people that book TV.
Yeah, amazing.
She's not just a pretty face. She's as switched on to the business as anybody could be. But yeah, me and her, we put on a show at the gym, had no room left. It was absolutely heaving. And to have people coming away going, that is one of the best first shows we've ever seen. That's a real highlight. Because
it's a massive pat on the back, that is, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's seeing like all of your sort of, not just my hard work, but everybody that has trained with us, it's their hard work. And people will go, oh no, it's just a good wrestling show. It's not a trainee show. It's just a good wrestling show. That was a real highlight. And we will be doing stuff in the near future, obviously.
Watch this space kind of deal, yeah?
Very much so. It takes a little bit more planning than your average everyday show, but because there's a lot of stuff to move around.
All good, man, all good. I shall certainly be watching this space. So what's next for Flying Mike Bird then?
Keep on trucking, really. But I think with the world opening back up, we're all starting to get our reps in again, get a few sort of matches in under our belt. Training's been consistent, so me and Paige obviously really want to sort of take time and care with curating the training and making sure that everybody's up and working as best they can and growing things from there. And like on that sort of side of things, I'm not chasing to be working like 5 times a week. Do you know what I mean? Because I want to spend time with Paige. I want to spend time with Sarah. And, do you know what I mean? I know there's going to be times when I'm away and I will miss stuff, but I'd rather see as much as I can, because for me as a kid, I always had my mum and my dad there. Yeah, my dad would be away working when he had to. Yeah, so would my mum. But they were there for as much as they could be. So I very much want to be there for as much as Sarah's life as possible. You know what I mean? And for Paige, you know what I mean? Because we're not just parents, you know what I mean? We're each other's other half as well. So we're not just mum and dad, do you know what I mean? We're Mike and Paige to Paige and Mike. So
that's the way, brother.
It's trying to find a healthy balance, but also still live the dream as it is and chase bigger dreams.
Good man. Got to keep on chasing, brother. Got to keep on chasing.
Absolutely.
Top man.
If you haven't got a dream to chase, what's the point in running?
Exactly. Before we wrap up and I let you get on with your evening then, sir, we've had an awesome chat and a fantastic catch up, and it has been genuinely lovely. Yeah. Do you have anything else, any plugs, any shout outs, any acknowledgements you want to chuck in there?
Well, if I haven't acknowledged her enough already, then clearly I have to acknowledge Paige, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have Sharon, and if I didn't have her, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have Catch 22, the school that I'm now just plugging, Catch 22 Pro Wrestling.
Excellent.
Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, without her, I really don't think I would be where I am right now. So she's the biggest one, and obviously my mum and dad, because if I didn't have them, then Christ in heaven. I mean, I
didn't have them, wouldn't have you.
I mean, that's not necessarily the thought I want to think about, but
exactly. Yeah. All right. On that bombshell, shout out the page, shout out your mum and dad. And Mike, it's been a lovely, lovely chat, mate. It's been lovely having you on. Thank you for coming on. Been trying to make it happen for a while. We got there in the end, my son. Persistence and hard work pays off. See?
It pays off, and it pays off. And yeah, if you ever want to come down with Catch 22 Pro Wrestling, then you're more than welcome to come inside outdoors and do lots of squats and press-ups and maybe even a headlock.
Fantastic. Catch 22 Pro Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. You could see it in the links below the video and the audio just about here, or just at the bottom there if you're listening and not watching. Flying Mike Bird, everybody, on the Cayman Show. 3 words for you. Woohoo!